All right, Any Given Sunday Sports Special. We're here. We're back. Another episode. Interesting week. Teams are starting to separate themselves, except that wild card. That wild card just got a lot more interesting thanks to Anthony. It's crazy right now, fellas, in Any Given Sunday. I got Steve. I got
Yes.
Anthony. What's up, fellas? How we doing?
I feel great, man. I feel great.
Anthony, you all right over there?
Another day in the valley.
I guess we'll understand why these comments as we go through the show. Let's go ahead. Let's get right to it, Steve. The floor is yours. We got so much to get to. Let's do it.
All right, let's start with the first game. Florida Thirst Traps putting up 76 points against Garbage Time, who put up 114. They both go to 2-4. Jesus, what do you feel about this game?
We did predict Dom to win this game, so there's nothing surprising there. Dom pulled it off. He did the right move at quarterback. Congratulations. He was able to survive the week without Stafford. Props to him. On the other side, Gabe. Yeah, where do I start? It was just a rough week. There was nothing that really went right for him there. I don't understand when you trade for Deshaun Jackson, but I guess it made sense because Coleman got the start. And Coleman did give him a touchdown. But just overall it was a tough week there. But on the other side, Dom, we're gonna talk a lot more about your team when we talk about next week's games. So I'm not gonna slight you on that. But we got so many to recap. Congrats to you, Dom. You got the dub.
Anthony.
It's quite simple. Every prognosticator, everybody out there said Jameis Winston's going to be a top 5 start this week. And it didn't seem that way in the beginning, but he absolutely showed up. He gets him 38, but he rolls with Cam Newton. You're thinking it's a good idea in theory, but if we're saying, and all the prognosticators and everyone should probably start Jameis, you probably should. But even if so, it might not have made much of a difference. Dom got enough double-digit scoring from the guys he needed to. Cam was a good pickup. Tyreek Hill went crazy. He's been off the past few weeks, but this game, he just really showed up. He's a Tyreek Hill we all know and love. He gets you 32. You're getting 21 from Cam. You get Mixon back. He has a fantastic game. Like I said, we all picked it. It went exactly as we decided to be, and that's exactly what happened. Like I said, Steve went undefeated. Me and you, Jesus, went 4-1. So we got this one right. There's not much more you can say.
Yeah, I agree, fellas. My last comment is I thought it would be closer, to be honest, but congrats to Dom. He pulled it off. Tyreek Hill coming up with 3 touchdowns. Whenever you get 32 points from a wide receiver, you have a very high probability of winning, along with whenever your defense scores 21 points. It usually is a good week for you, and it was in this case for Dom. So congrats to him. All right, next game, we have Slap Sauce going into Dr. Evil. Slap Sauce put up 81 points, but it was Dr. Evil who put up 110 points. Dr. Evil moves up to 3-3. Slap Sauce falls to 2-4. Anthony, I'll start with you. What do you think about this game?
It was exactly as I expected. I didn't think it would be any different. I think that Latavius Murray was a great start. He hasn't really shown up lately, but Dalvin Cook with that late scratch, put it in Murray. He's giving him 21. I think that, Kirk Cousins had an okay game. One through the air, one through the ground. He didn't really do much. Roethlisberger did win that matchup. But again, when you have a guy like Todd Gurley, who's right now the best back in fantasy, every week he's putting up quarterback numbers. He puts up 35. On the opposite side, Juju did what Juju did, but you need a little bit more from him. You expected a better combination with him and Roethlisberger. But, outside of that, and the Dallas defense giving them double figures, everything else was singles. For Dr. Evil, you get 10 from Allen, 21 from Murray, 18 from Cousins. Again, 35. We got those guys with high variances scoring at their peak. There's not much that you can do. But, we figured that Slap Sauce needed to make some moves to do something different with that team. But in reality, we chose right. We figured this is exactly how it was going to go, and we weren't let down. But Jesus, we're running the show together. What do you think?
The better team won. I really didn't think Slap Sauce had a shot at winning this game. It was just that simple. I didn't think they had a chance, and they didn't win the game. The better team won. Props to Dennis. It was a mash, kind of a mash unit too. If I'm just looking at it overall, it wasn't pretty. Calvin Ridley gets hurt. Trey Burton had that one touchdown, but minus that touchdown, what do you have? 23 yards receiving on four
Yep.
catches. So it wasn't
Yeah.
anything. And then McCaffrey's just he's a head scratcher this year for him. I don't know if he's going to be able to kick it into the next gear at some point here, but he hasn't as of yet. But just a better team won. I don't think there was ever a doubt here on any of our minds who was going to win this game. So props to Dennis and Slap Sauce. The trade deadline's coming up shortly here. You got to do something. You got to do something, man.
I agree. I mean, the better team won. Dr. Evil came out with guns blazing. The Latavius Murray play, excellent 21 points right there. But I think what separates Dr. Evil from the rest is the fact that he has Todd Gurley, who's by far head and shoulders the best fantasy player of all time and looking to be the MVP this year. And I honestly think he's going to continue these crazy numbers until week 14, week 15. But if they continue if they're still undefeated, you might have Todd Gurley for the whole year. So that's a possibility.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So congratulations to Dennis and pulling off that win. All right. Next game we have the Daytona Daunting Ducks. Now this game was nice all the way towards that last game.
Nice for who?
They put up a $119, and somehow, some way, the Powers they pulled some fairy magic dust. They pulled that black magic. They pulled out their voodoo dolls and they put up a $149 because I was convinced that they were going to lose, and they somehow pulled it together. So Zeus, I'm going to start off with you and try to understand how the heck did you guys pull off that win?
It wasn't. It was definitely something. I'm going to be very clear. I was debating whether or not to even play Sony Michel leading up until the 4 o'clock game because I was saying to myself, Sony Michel's a game time decision. So I know that he had practiced all week in a limited basis, but you never want to go into a Sunday night game. I knew if Sony Michel is out, I'm going to have to pick up Hogan and start him, and that's not going to be pretty. So as the 1 o'clock games are happening, I just said to myself, look, if I'm down by 20 plus, I'm going to just roll the dice. Because I have no shot anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice on Sony Michel, which is exactly what I did. Which, I mean, the guy's a stud. He's a league winner right now, so he's an absolute stud. But game ball has to go to Melvin Gordon because if he doesn't put up that 32-point game and he just puts up, let's say, for example, a 10-point game, this is probably a completely different ball game because then I don't know if I have that momentum going in. But props to Daytona Daunting Ducks. They deserve to win. They did all the right moves. You look at all those Eagle points, the points they had on Thursday night. Brady did his thing. Connor balled out. It's just one of those that my team right now is clicking on all cylinders. They're scoring a ton of points week in and week out. If you look at the points against, teams are scoring a lot of points against me whenever they play me. So, it's just one of those that we just happen to continue to score more. But I was stressed out. I mean, I'm not going to lie about it. I thought the run was over. I really did.
And I'm going to go real quick, Anthony. I think the game ball goes to your freaking kicker. 22 points from a kicker is out of this world. That should never happen, okay? I mean, look, we expect Gordon to put those type of points. Mahomes, yes. You know what I mean? You go down this list. I mean, even Sony Michel, okay. 22 points is a little out of the normal for a guy who's hurt. Look, really? 22 points from a kicker like that, I would be so demoralized. Like it would mind mess me for probably the next 3-4 weeks. So yes, congratulations to you, man. Anthony, you're next.
I didn't doubt. I don't know where you fellas are getting this from, but I didn't doubt it at all, like one bit. So I don't know where the panic came in. Like we just discussed before, Todd Gurley is the best back in fantasy football. But Melvin Gordon's number 2. I mean, the lowest you were under the assumptions it was like maybe he gets you 10. The lowest he's had all season is 14.
I know.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, he's been between 14 and 22 all season.
Mm-hmm.
He's been extremely consistent. What I remember hearing earlier when I listened to another fantasy podcast, and they were talking about the work that he did over the summer with LaDainian Thompson to help with his route running and his pass catching skills. You can absolutely see that.
Yep.
He's a route runner. He runs the ball well. And I mean, and that's on a team where I mean, it's a lot of options, and they spread the ball around. And I mean, even a guy like Austin Eckler still got you. I think it was six something to that degree.
Yep, on the bench.
Right. And like I said, there's nothing wrong or at fault with the Ducks because in reality, 119 is nothing to scoff at. But when you have the number two back in fantasy and probably the number one fantasy quarterback, even if you didn't get much from Odell Beckham, you still have Antonio Brown who shows up like he always does. You got a good
But that
solid
was
game
luck.
from
Look,
Ertz.
I'll even admit it. I'll even admit the Antonio Brown thing was luck. All they had to do was
Oh,
hold the
super.
ball just to kick a field goal at the end of the game and run the clock. They just said, you know what, we're gonna get greedy and score a touchdown on these dudes. But realistically
And that was
speaking, that was luck.
and it
I'll
was
admit it.
it was luck because it was an illegal block.
That's another thing too. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
wasn't
pick.
there a
He said
false
a pick.
start on that play or
Yeah,
something like
no,
that?
he
Something
said a
crazy.
pick. He said a pick.
Yeah, it was a
on the
pick.
goal
That's what
line.
it was. Yeah, it was a pick. Yeah.
Yeah, and not in like an NFL pick, like an NBA pick. Like he stood there, put his arms out, and like held the guy like, "Fam," and he just runs by him like, "Okay, all right, I see how this is going." But on the opposite side, I have to give the Ducks props. Period. I think James Conner is a terrific pickup. I think he's still going to be a main part of the offense whenever Le'Veon Bell gets back. And as much as we're shouting out guys in fantasy, let's all kind of like tip our hats to Adam Thielen for being amazingly consistent this season.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I I
Ridiculous.
didn't expect this guy to be the number two wide receiver in fantasy. Not at all, but he's been
I
there.
agree.
He's been a steady performer. He can't complain. So I mean, that's a good lineup with you have Connor, that's great. You have Thielen. I mean, it's a lot of things there. So I mean, the Ducks shouldn't feel bad at all. I mean, they still have a shot.
They're
I
one
mean,
and
it's not
five. Of course they're gonna feel bad. They're 1-5. Which we'll get
right.
into it.
Yeah,
I mean, I know we're not supposed to take too much time. Well, I guess we'll get into it later. But I mean, come on, Anthony. They have to have some kind of a frustration shown here.
yeah. But it's more of a frustration of that luck and things are not breaking their way, not from performance and talent. The performances have been there. They just keep catching the wrong week. So it's not like they're a bad team. They just run into the wrong and most inopportune things at the most inopportune of times. That talent and that roster should be able to do something. Just not breaking well from the season.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Next game. I'm gonna do this game first because I know it's the game of the week, but this was just a blowout, and we have to save the
Ugh.
the closest one for last. So we're gonna go Tampa's Empire. It was the game of the week because these were the only two winning teams playing each other.
Ugh.
Tampa's Empire put up buck 23, but the McPoon handlers forgot to show up, and they put up 59 points. I'm gonna be really quick about this. 59 points. That's all I gotta say. That should never happen. Honestly, it's the worst feeling as a GM, as a coach. I don't even know what Rich is like. Honestly, I probably would have turned off football and just like gone out with the family and kids or something. Like if that happened to me, like seriously. But that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, anytime you put up a 59 pointer, that's and Adams is the only glimpse of hope who showed up. Like that's bad. I'll kick it to you, fellas.
Yeah. You ever see the Apollo where the somebody tries to go up on stage and they perform horribly and they get booed off the stage? Yeah, that's kind of what happened with McBoone. I mean, that was just bad.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste too much time. I'm not gonna waste much of my breath on this game. Props to you, Steve. You did what you needed to do. Your points they came spread. They were spread around by three major pieces, and then your defense showed up, which Gabe was furious because Gabe had Seattle, then he changed his mind, and then you got Seattle. So awesome move by you. But yeah, I'm not gonna waste much time on this one. Props to you, Steve and McPoon. Maybe this is who they really are. I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man, she was disgusting. Like, what's going on? Come on. I mean, all right. I could, at worst, like if it just like from just like randomization. Let's just like from chaos theory. If you just like randomly just do it, any of you guys in your bench, somebody probably would have got you double digits somewhere. One guy get you double digits, and that's Devontae Adams. That's great. That's 25. But 7 from your quarterback, 6 from Yeldon. Not like I don't understand the logic and theory of rolling out Jordy Nelson. I don't get it. I don't get it. That team is just bad in all phases of the game. So we have one guy putting up quarterback numbers, and he's not your quarterback, and your quarterback is putting up a low end flex number, and everyone is in single digits. And as a matter of fact, you get a guy with a 0. I mean, you don't stand a chance. But I mean, I was expecting a little bit more than 59. But look, I don't know what they're doing with their roster. They got to do something because right now it's just terrible. I mean, if you're giving up on the season, you feel like selling players. Hey, man, I'm open for business. But in reality, they're just a terrible loss. Steve, your team showed up. You got the guys that you need to score. 28 from Barkley, 33 from Ryan. Nothing more to say. You pulled it out. It was just a terrible loss. Point blank, period.
All right. There you have it. All right. And so this wasn't the game of the week, but it was an entertaining game. We had a slightly punty vibe putting up 108 points, but it was the Jets suck that put up a $134. I'll start with you, Anthony. What do you got to say about this game, man?
What are my feelings?
Yeah, feelings, thoughts. Go for
it. My feelings are the Jacksonville defense can go straight to hell. That's what I feel. They're supposedly the best defense in fantasy, and they give up 40 to Dallas. I'm watching that game, and I'm just disgusted. I'm like, I know I got to deal with Rodgers. I know I got to deal with Graham. I'm good to go there. I can live with that. But, I mean, Ezekiel tearing up that defense and that we all supposed to love and care about and so on and so forth. Got to give Pops credit for having that Tyler Boyd pickup. He's a solid number 2 guy. You got Julio Jones. We're not going to talk about Julio too much. He didn't score, but a ton of yardage, 14. That's great. And Rodgers just turned into Aaron Rodgers last night. I mean, I couldn't believe it, but he did what he had to do. I mean, the guy put up 425. I mean, there's not much that really I can do. I mean, there were some roster changes and maybe I would have swapped out Williams for Thomas, but Thomas didn't get that late touchdown until literally late, just like last week. So you just don't know how it's going to shake out. I expected a better game from Phil Rivers, but 18's nothing to scoff at, but it was just game flow. Melvin Gordon was cooking, and that was it. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of guys in double digits. The Houston defense gave me 20. Hell, the kicker gave me 18. But when you got Rodgers and that Jacksonville defense just opens up a hole, and they just suck, and they terrible, and you get a great game from Boyd, I'm not even going to complain. I figured that I was going to take the loss. I was going to try to do my best to avoid that, but like I said, Aaron Rodgers showed up. I cannot complain. So, fellas, give it to me.
All right. So I asked you to do me a favor this week. I wanted you to send Pops home. I begged of you to take care of business because I knew what was coming. I mean, I literally screamed this throughout.
Go home.
Now, Caroline, just try.
Go home.
But I have muffins in the oven.
Go home. Go home. Go home.
I don't have to.
So I begged of you, Anthony, to send him home. And you couldn't do me that favor. You couldn't just take him out. You had a chance to put him to bed and you didn't do it. Yes, you put up 108 points. Props to you. Appreciate it. Great job. But what is this where Mike Williams, you put him in your lineup over Demaryius Thomas? Why?
It wouldn't have saved me. It wouldn't have saved me.
I get that. It wouldn't have saved you. You're not wrong about that. But at the end of the day, what has Mike Williams done to earn that spot over Demaryius Thomas?
They went to the wrong Williams. They went to the wrong Williams. Tyrell had what? Tyrell had 3 for 118 and 2 touchdowns. He had
2 catches, 2 40-yard catches basically was what got him those points. But at the end of the day, Mike Williams has done nothing to earn the spot. He's done nothing. Correct me if I'm wrong. What has he had? Has he had one? Is it one good game all year? One good game.
Yes.
2.
And then he had 2 8-point games. But really one double-digit game all season. That's it. That's all he's had. And then the one game where he had 8 points, he had 2 catches for 27 yards. He just so happened to fall in the end zone on that one. Anthony, I got love for you. But I'm stressed because I needed you to beat Pops. I needed it. And you didn't do it for me. You didn't do me that favor. I needed to beat Pops. Now this man is going to come back from the grave. I don't know who watches wrestling, but you guys ever seen The Undertaker when he comes out of that casket and he just starts beating everybody down? That's what I'm concerned of right now. So I want to thank you for that because you just gave this man a second life and now I got to deal with it. Go ahead, Steve. I can't anymore.
I mean, look. I really can't hate against Anthony on that. I really can't because I actually started Mike Williams in one of my other leagues because I thought he was going to have a bounce back game, especially against Cleveland. Like, I mean, come on. I really thought he was going to bounce back, so I can't blame him for that. I mean, I could see your argument over Demaryius Thomas. Okay, yeah, you're probably right. That's
That's my concern. Yeah, that's my concern.
I get that. But to Anthony's point, that's not why he lost the game. All right. I mean, Anthony made one mistake on his lineup, which didn't cost him the game. The reality is Aaron Rodgers decided to show up and put up 34 points all of a sudden, and then on top of that,
425 damn yards.
Wasn't he hurt?
425.
Didn't he like
hurt
tear his
with a
ACL or something
break.
like that? I don't know.
Yes.
Man. I can't.
Yeah.
I just
425 on one leg. On one leg.
That's the scarier part. 425 with one leg. And then I agree with Anthony. What the hell happened with Jacksonville to let up 40 points? Because I thought Ezekiel Elliott, I really did. I thought he was going to get maybe 6 or 7 points, like 20 yards and a touchdown. I really did. So you take those two factors away. I mean, it's still close. But yeah, I mean, Pops is scary. Pops is a championship contending team now, especially if Alex Collins can still do what he does, which, I mean, I'm not a believer in Alex Collins, but if he can at least find the end zone a game and put up 50 yards a game, he's playable. And then you got Kamara sitting there too. So
we get it, Steve. We get it, Steve. We get it.
All right. I'm just saying, man. I'm trying to give everybody the heads up.
Oh my God.
Hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold up. Stop. Everybody relax. Hold on. Okay. You're 6-0, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're 6-0. Now, generally, to make the playoffs, you need to get about 8 wins. You're two games shy of that.
My man.
Why
I'm not in it for just the playoffs. Maybe that's what you guys are in it for. But I'm not in it to just make the playoffs. I've been in the playoffs, the last 3 years? I've been there. That's not what I'm in it for. I got a bigger picture in mind. And I can tell you this right now. This is a man that I want nothing to do with come playoff time right now. Nothing.
Yep.
Well,
I'm going to look the other way so far. And Pops, don't get it twisted. If I play you, I play you. I'm still going to handle my business. But if I had a preference, listen, I want to look the other way. That's not getting into a fight. I'll fight if I have to. But if it's a big guy, I prefer to hug it out. Let's talk about the situation. But yeah, man.
All right. Give us our picks, man. Give it how do we do?
All right, so Steve, you of course you want to know the picks. You went 5-0 this week, and then Anthony and I went 4-1. So the current record stand as followed. And last place is Anthony at 19-11, excellent record still. Steve is at 20-10, and then I am at 21-9 in first place.
All one game away from each other. Well, yeah, except for Anthony, who's 2, but still, not bad. Not bad.
Y'all gonna stop. Y'all gonna stop. Y'all gonna stop. I am not your little brother. I'm bigger than both of y'all. Y'all gonna stop.
Too funny. All right, guys, here we go. Let's start off with the first game. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna go Florida Thirst Traps, 2-4.
Ugh.
They're going into the Daytona Daunting Ducks, 1-5.
Ugh.
This is a bad game. Who do you guys have? I'm sorry. I'm just calling it for what it is.
I guess I'll go first on this one. Give me. Oh my goodness. Well, he doesn't have Connor this week, which scares me.
Nope.
Chicago defense, I think they're gonna have a decent game. They're not gonna win, but I think they'll play pretty good. I'm actually gonna go with the Thirst Traps in this game because I like the matchups better. Jameis Winston. Here's a little known fact: his last 9 games that he's, I believe 9 or 10 games that he started, he's been in the top 10. He's been a top 10 quarterback. Yep. So that at the end of the day, that the numbers speak for themselves. So I think he's going to play very well. I do think Carlos Hyde is going to bounce back. Yes, Tampa Bay, congratulations. You fired your defensive coordinator. But I still think that they're a porous defense. Yes, it's their secondary. That's really where it's weak. But I still think Carlos Hyde could get a little something going there. I'm going to go with the Thirst Traps. I don't want to talk too much because I want to talk about the better games, sadly, than this one. But yeah, the Thirst Traps I think are going to win this. And I won't be surprised if they win it by double digits, to be honest.
All right, I'll go next. I also have the thirst traps. I agree. I think Carlos Hyde's going to get into the touchdown. I like Brandon Cooks this week against San Fran. I think he's going to be better. I like Jameis Winston again. Winston's definitely going to put up the points. The only question, I trust me, I get why he's putting Peyton Barber in, but truthfully, I'm still a believer in Djax.
Yep, he's
And I
overreacting. He's overreacting to the
he
one
really
game
is.
from Peyton
He,
Barber.
he he
So
really
hopefully
is.
he
But
snaps
again,
out of it. He listens to our show.
that's
He listens to
that's
us.
that's his yeah, that's his that's his choice, that's his lineup. Regardless whether he plays either or, I do think he's going to win the game. And with Daytona, man, I mean, it's just tough breaks, fellas. Tough breaks. And
Yeah, let's make it the clean sweep. Like I said, it's not having anything necessarily wrong with the Ducks themselves. It's just that now you're on the schneid. You need some help. You want someone or something to pull through. But in reality, is having James Conner, having him being a consistent back. He's not there. I mean, you might be able to pull Corey Clement off the bench, but he's not going to get you that kind of production. I think just generally, I mean, you'll probably get a good game from Thielen. You'll probably get a good game from Jeffrey. I just think on the opposite side, again, I believe Hyde is going to have a good week. Winston, I wouldn't necessarily say he's on fire, but just that he has some very good matchups. That team is really rolling. I mean, Cleveland's okay, but well, I can't really even complain about that because they actually did a pretty good job last week. But I'm not expecting much from them. I just, in reality, the matchups will work more and in Gabe's favor. I'm happy for him. I think he gets a 3-4. Let's make it a clean sweep. Let's go with the thirst traps this week.
As
all
crazy as
right.
it sounds, too, fellas, the Thirst Traps, they've had a rough season. They're only one game out of the wild card. That's how
Yep.
nuts that is. Which we'll get into the standings, I guess, after our picks if we have time.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
in the wait. So he's in the opposite division.
Yeah, he's in the other division.
Yeah, he's in mine.
Oh, that division is so trash. Go ahead, next game.
Ooh.
All right. Next game, I'll let that one slide. But next game, we're gonna go to 2-4 Slap Sauce at home. They are taking on the Jet Suck, who is 3-3. Who do you guys have in this one? And I will start with you, Anthony.
Let's go with. I'm gonna go with slap sauce. I understand on the opposite side for Jets suck, they're gonna roll with Baker Mayfield. That's actually a pretty good matchup. I think Cleveland has actually some pretty good matches over the next few weeks because they face some of the worst pass defenses. But having Drew Brees back, I know that they're going against. Well, if I'm reading this correctly, they're going against Baltimore. That is a really good defense, but I think giving them a week off, getting Kamara back situated, getting Ingram back situated, I think it's a terrific matchup. I like Golden Tate as a good matchup this week. King Drake against Detroit. I do actually really, really like that. I know he had that basically soul crushing fumble, but he was able to work it out and get it in the end. I think you're going to see another good game from LaShawn McCoy because they're playing against Indianapolis. And right now, their quarterback situation is terrible. So I think they're going to feed him. On the opposite side, I'm pretty sure you're going to do something at tight end. You're going to roll out there with Ingram. We're going to see how that works out. Him and Kamara, I think that's a pretty good matchup, but I think you might see a little bit more of a tighter game period because Baltimore's defense is one of the best in the league. So, you know what? I'm going to go with slap sauce.
All
I
right.
need to make up ground. I need to make up ground. I need to make up
Okay.
ground. I need
All
to
right.
do something different.
All
I
right.
know this loss to Jets suck, but hey, let's try this.
All right, I'll go next. I actually am going to go the opposite way. I think the Jets suck are going to win, and I think this is the beginning of the streak. I'm calling it right now. Um,
Whatever.
and here's why. Here's why. Elliott against Washington, I like. I think Baker Mayfield's going to throw all over that Tampa defense. I mean, we just said it. That defense is trash. Now, let's be real. Um, and look, this is the only confusing thing with Pops. I'm a little confused on why you're playing both Ingram and Kamara. That's. I mean, if you're really gonna do that,
He's
props
gonna do
to
that
you.
every
That's
week. That's the whole reason why he did the trade. Just so you know, his goal is to do that every week. By the way, Anthony, take out $100 from me while you at it.
I got you. I got you.
um,
Actually, I'm literally taking down $100. Literally.
but here's the thing. I mean, the Minnesota defense, and I think he just has enough firepower on his team to put up more points. I think this is actually going to be a very close game. Um, But here's the thing. At the end of the day, I don't trust two people on Slap Sauce's team. That is LaShawn McCoy and Kenyon Drake. I don't trust them. They are so wild as far as their performances, and there's no inconsistency there.
Yeah.
So that's my pick. Jesus, what do you got?
All right, so Anthony, you said you're here to try to make up some ground, and this and
Yeah.
that and all that other fun stuff. Well, guess what? You're not going to make up ground against me because I'm actually going to agree with you. I am going to take Slap Sauce here.
What?
It comes down to them not having Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Baker Mayfield is a good matchup against Tampa Bay, but I do think with the new coordinator, it's not going to be as bad. I still think they give up points. Don't get it twisted, but I don't think it's going to be as bad. And Baltimore run defense, I think. I think they're going to do pretty well against Ingram and Kamara. Now, I do think one of them scores a touchdown. I just don't think they're both going to score in a game like this, right? So one may have a good game, the other one might not. So I think that's going to impact him. I do think Jackrabbit is going to play up against Julio. Jackrabbit hasn't been great, but I do think he can be decent. And again, Julio Jones doesn't score touchdowns, right? We all know that. That's a proven fact. Yeah, I'm actually going to go on the other side. If I'm looking at it, the way to get to the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, is through the air. That's how you beat them. Jordan Howard, if I saw what Kareem Hunt just did to the New England rush defense, I think Jordan Howard can score a touchdown in this game. Gordon's getting more and more involved each week, so it's going to be there. And I do think LaShawn McCoy gets in the end zone this week. I really, really do. So yeah, I'm going to go with the upset here and give me Slap Sauce in this game. And he's going to do the work that Anthony couldn't do for me.
I tried, damn it. Next game.
I know you did. I know.
All right. Next game, we have Garbage Time, who is 2-4. They get to play Tampa's Empire, who is 5-1. And I will quickly go on this. I have 2 buys out right now, so tight end Jaron Cook, and I have to pick a defense. But I will find them. And I'm going to pick myself, of course. I just think Matt Ryan versus Stafford, I have him beat there. Barkley's better than Mixon against KC. Evans and Green is a wash. Hilton's had some time off. We'll see how he does against Buffalo. But I think he might have the edge on Tyreek Hill, so I'll give you that. But I think where I'm going to win it at, where he is with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is basically performing like a top 5 back, and I think the fact that I have 2 top 5 backs is it's just too much for Dom to handle. So I will go with myself. Anthony, who you got?
I'm not arguing this. We're going to keep the good times rolling. I'm going to roll with Tampa's Empire. I think having Stafford back that's great, but I don't think it's a good matchup against Ryan. I mean, the Giants' defense kind of holds well in the first quarter. But since the offense is so scattershot, they don't sustain drives. What basically happens is that the defense gets worn out and they get scored on. It happened last week. It happened the week before. This won't be any different. I think Hilton's a good matchup as long as he's healthy. Like I said, I think we're going to see a lot of 3-and-outs in that Buffalo defense. So therefore, that defense is going to be tired. Again, 2 top 5 backs and both Hunt and Barkley both going to get into the end zone this week. I'm pretty certain you'll sort out something at tight end. But, I mean, you're going against Njoku. I don't think that's going to be really that big of a matchup. It's going to make much of a change. Again, I think you're right. A.J. Green is a watch. I think Joe Mixon is going to be a good back against KC. That offense is great, but that defense is just as bad. But I just think with a better quarterback, a wash at wide receiver, but having 2 dominant running backs against his one, I'm going to go with the Empire this week.
All right. Steve, before I make my decision, this is very important.
I'm going with Funches. Going Funches.
Okay, no, that's good that you're going Funches. That wasn't the question I was going to go with.
Oh, okay. Right.
At quarterback, are you sticking with Matt Ryan or are you going with Andrew Luck?
I am actually sticking with Matt Ryan.
Okay, so I'm going to actually pick Garbage Time then. I do think that it's going to be a very, very close game. I think it's going to come down to one player, that type of game. I truly do believe that. I love Saquon Barkley against Atlanta. I really do like that matchup. Mike Evans against Cleveland. Again, Cleveland defense, I do like them. I think they had a bad game, but I do like Cleveland. I don't think they're horrible. I love T.Y. Hilton against Buffalo. I think he's going to play very well. Kareem Hunt will be fine. He's going to do his thing. But I look at the matchups on the other side, and I'm just breaking it down, and wow. Matthew Stafford against Miami, I love that. Mixon against Kansas City, love that. A.J. Green against Kansas City, love that. Tyreek Hill against Cincy, love it. Njoku, he's just meh tight end, nothing special. I love Kerryon Johnson against Miami, and I love Adrian Peterson with Dallas because here's the reason why. Not because I think he's going to be able to run all over Dallas, but because I don't think Dallas is going to score like they just did last week. I don't see that being continual. So it's going to be a low-scoring game, which means Peterson's going to get a lot of carries, a lot of touches. I love that. I hope he changes the Ravens defense just because you got to be careful on that one. Maybe because it's outdoors, it may be different. But yeah, I'm gonna go with garbage time simply because from what I'm seeing here, he has Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's gonna do fine, but I don't think I don't think he has the upside that Steve is gonna need this week. I understand that. I don't doubt that. I see that he is at home. I just don't think that it's gonna be that kind of a shootout game. To be honest with you, just because against the Giants, I think they're gonna just be able to run the ball and just take care of the clock because the Giants can't score. The Giants can't score, so for them, it's going to be either they're going to get up early and milk the clock, or it's just going to be one of those type of games. So I think the Indianapolis Colts are actually going to be able to put up a ton of points on that Buffalo defense, and that's why I'm a little shocked that you're going this route. But because you're going to go with Matt Ryan, I'm actually going to go with garbage time here.
All right. Next game. So the next game we have is 2 3-3 teams. We have McCoon handling Goat Engines, who are 3-3, playing Dr. Evil, who's also 3-3. I will go with Hugh Jesus. Who do you have in this one?
Dr. Evil. And I think it's going to be not close, to be honest with you. It's going to be a blowout. You just look at it. Gurley and Goff are going up against San Francisco. Did you just see what just happened to San Francisco's defense? What Aaron Rodgers just did on one leg? Yeah, it's not going to be close. And O.J. Howard, oh my goodness, this guy has found his way into the NFL. He is an absolute stud. I don't know how many games he scored in touchdowns this year, but I feel like it's been more games than not, just my opinion. So I really like him. I'm not a fan of McCaffrey. You guys that follow us in Dynasty know I just moved him because I'm concerned there. I have a lot of concern on that aspect of it. But yeah, I'm going to go with Dennis this game. On the other side, I don't think he has horrible matchups. I'm not a big fan of Deshaun Watson against at Jacksonville because I think Jacksonville is pissed off. But that's not why I'm picking against them. I'm picking against them just because Dr. Evil's the better team. I think this is going to be another type of game where Dennis is going to outscore him the same kind of way you outscored him last week, Steve. Rough patch for Rich right now. Rough patch.
Yeah, I'll go next real quick. I got Dr. Evil. I mean, he's loaded on his side. He's got that Rams D. He's got O.J. Howard in that lineup. I mean, I think Keenan Allen's gonna score. Todd Gurley's gonna put up another 30-point night for McCoon. Anthony.
What did McCoon score in your matchup?
59?
Yeah, 59.
59. You know, right now they're projected to score 62, so it is going to be an improvement over last week.
Well, he has 2 buys on his lineup. You would hope he gets those fixed. But yeah, I know what you mean. 3 buys, actually. Three.
3. But even if he stretches it out, I think you got problems at wide receiver, period. And then you don't have Devontae Adams. I wouldn't necessarily say you have a problem with quarterback. I think Deshaun Watson's fine. But again, I do believe in what you said. You're going to be playing a very angry defense who should not have given up 40 to Dallas like that. So they're going to get after them, and that offensive line is terrible. Guy doesn't die. You got Fuller, but I think you have 2 good cornerbacks. I think that Watson feels a lot more comfortable with Hopkins than he does with Fuller. I mean, he's a guy you can trust, so I don't see a lot of action there. And, I mean, it's not really much going on the bench. Fournette's still hurt. Maybe you swing in Fitzgerald, but that's a Thursday night game. You don't know how that's going to go. Maybe Breida, but again, you're going against the Rams defense. I think Cohen will be a good matchup, but they're just not enough here, like this week, for them to make that kind of impact. Again, you got Gurley, you got Goff. I mean, he's gonna roll with basically all Rams all day. He's starting Woods, Gurley. Well, because Kupp is hurt, so we're not gonna really worry about that. But Goff, Gurley, Woods. Again, we're not going to knock about O.J. Howard. He's been showing up. He's been terrific. I think that maybe Dalvin Cook might be out another week, but we'll see. But even though if you move someone else into the flex, I don't think it makes much of a difference. Let's just roll with Dr. Evil. It's better matchups. It's a better team. They're going to be 4-3.
All right, guys. Last game. Game of the week.
Bullshit. Go ahead.
New York Powers against 3-3, a slightly punty vibe.
Game of the week, my ass.
So I will go with you, Anthony. Who do you have?
Game of the week, my ass. No game of the week. This shit gonna be. It's over. I'm picking up Powers. Of course, I'm gonna go against my team. They haven't lost all season. All of his guys are still there. Everyone's still healthy. You know, instead of Phillip Rivers, do like maybe throwing the ball at Melvin Gordon. Like, nah. You go ahead and you keep doing that, Phil. Fantastic. I love you. You had a great fantasy season, and I'm going to roll with you, and it's not a problem. It's just that all the matchups in that hand favor him because I've got guys out. I get Michael Thomas back, but I'm not certain how that matchup is going to go because, again, they're facing a very good defense. There's an issue with the flex position. Maybe I'm going to roll with Thomas. More likely, I probably will. Maybe I'm with Marquise Goodwin because he's healthy. Because more than anything else, like the guy's a speedster, and you see what Tyreek Hill does. When you're fast, you're just fast. And he has track speed. Maybe he gets something done. But all the matchups really favor the Powers this week. I'm not even going to complain about it. You still got Mahomes. You're still rolling. You still got Gordon. Everything's looking on the up and up. Me to be disingenuous to go ahead and pick myself just to be cute about it, I got to be honest. This is not the week. I'm going to be 3-4. I can live with that. I may have to make some moves in the future, but let's be honest. The Powers are going to end up 7-0. They'll be pretty much one game out of a playoff spot. Well, pretty much one game more winning if we basically lock a playoff spot up. I mean, he's worried about another guy who's 3-3. Who gives a damn about him? You're 3 games up on him. Deal with that when you get to the playoffs. As a matter of fact, if you keep winning and you're the number 1 seed, you don't even have to pick Pops in the first round. You can pick whoever you want. You don't have to deal with him. You don't have to deal with him until the very end where, it works out better in your favor because a lot of those guys might be sitting. I mean, the Rams, well, no, we're worried about the Rams, but we could talk about the Chargers. They're going to be in playoff contention, so Gordon's going to be out there. His guys are probably going to be sitting. You don't know what's going to go on with Kamara and, well, Zeke's going to be sitting, so why am I talking this through? What's wrong with me? I'm going to lose. I'm over-speaking this shit. I cannot speak this into existence. It's not going to happen. If it does, it's luck. I don't care who talks next. Speak your mind.
I'm going to go next. Because here's why. I am going to pick the upset. Yes.
You're high.
I am absolutely crazy. But here's why.
Steve, you have children. Don't do this to yourself.
Here's why.
You have kids.
Because I was so convinced last week that it was going to be a blowout with the Daunting Ducks. Like, I really thought that they were just going to murk them. You know what I mean? And even though, I mean, the props to the Powers, I said, they put up 149. I don't think that's going. I think that there has to be one game. I mean, yes, we can look, guys, you can look down the schedule and look at everybody's schedule and look at the Powers. And they're going to be favored. I'm going to tell you that straight up. All right? So let's be real. If you look at it and you look at the points and what they're projected, they're going to be favored in every game. So you have to pick one of these games where you're like, they might not put it together tonight. And my gut feeling is they're not going to put it together this week. That is the only reason why I'm picking this. I'm just saying that they're going to have one of those games where they're like, they didn't put it together. That's why I have the Powers. Or I mean, that's why I have Punty Vibe over the Powers. All right.
I'm glad you love me. I'm really glad you do. That's a real brother move. Like, I'm not going against my brother, but you're playing your other brother, so you win either way. So who cares what you're talking about?
I think honestly, the Powers losing only makes that division that much more interesting. So
it's already. But you're comparing it to your division. It's already interesting. 2-4 is in second place. 2-4 is in second place. Of course, it's interesting. Everyone sucks.
Oh my goodness.
Finish this off. Who do you got? I kind of have a feeling who you're gonna go with.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Listen, I agree with one part of your statement, Steve, which is at some point the bad game is going to happen.
Yes.
But you're absolutely. Where do you see what matchup on the New York Power side can you see that you can say to yourself, that's where the bad games come from? Patrick Mahomes against Cincinnati, stop. Melvin Gordon against Tennessee, stop. Odell Beckham against Atlanta, stop. Stephon Diggs against the Jets.
Wait, how much did Odell have last week?
Okay, that's fine. Even if he has the bad game, we still put up 149 points.
Okay, I know. I'm saying that, but
So I'll keep going.
Sonny Michel's
Okay,
playing
fine.
Chicago.
I'll give you that. I will give you
It's good
Odell Beckham.
defense.
You want that? You can have it. Stephon Diggs against the
You're
Jets.
gonna give me Sonny Michel?
Sony Michel against the Chicago. I'll give you that one too. I'll give you that
Okay.
too. Okay.
You're
so
gonna say Kenny Golladay is gonna
against
gonna be double
Miami?
digits?
Absolutely against Miami. Absolutely. Gladly I
Okay.
will say that. So
Okay.
I will say 100% you're right though. That at some point, right, the bad game is going to come. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it, Steve. I mean, it's not realistic to expect that to someone to go undefeated in fantasy football. It doesn't happen. It's not going to happen with me. Stop the talk. Don't even, Anthony wants to do some reverse jinx on his part. I respect that too. I appreciate that.
I'm just
But
I'm
There's
picking,
no and then we look at the matchups on Anthony's side. Okay. Phillip Rivers, fine. Against Tennessee, you want to give him that? We could give him that one. Fine. David Johnson against Denver. Denver rush defense is trash. But you got Hopkins against a pissed-off Jacksonville defense. You got Michael Thomas against a Baltimore defense. You got Lamar Miller against the Jacksonville defense. You got Marquise Goodwin against the Rams defense. I'm waiting. I don't... Where does the 100-plus points come from there, Steve?
They're easy.
Where?
The DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Thomas.
DeAndre Hopkins went against
the
Jacksonville.
top four
Ramsey's
are
going to
gonna be
shadow
the
him the
ones
whole
that are carrying
game.
him.
Ramsey's going to shadow him.
But yeah, but did you see what Dallas did? Did you
Okay.
not see that game?
But was it Ramsey's fault?
I'm just saying. It's
Did Ramsey
capable.
did Ramsey
The
have a
fact
bad
is,
game? I don't think Ramsey had a bad game there.
Look. The KC offense literally just gave the league a blueprint on how to beat Jacksonville's defense. Let's be real.
Yes. And you
It's
know how that is?
possible.
Yeah, okay. You
So,
want to know you want to know
yes,
what that is?
I'm
Is-
going to say DeAndre Hopkins is going to catch a touchdown against
He is.
that Jacksonville
Let me
defense.
let me tell you what the blueprint is. Don't throw to Jalen Ramsey. That's the blueprint to beat them. Because Tyreek Hill didn't really have a good game there against Jalen Ramsey. So again, I get what your point is. You're not wrong in the statement, but you're wrong in the week that it's gonna happen. It's not this week, bruh. There's
All right.
there's nothing on there to
right.
say that can happen.
Hey,
Now,
hey,
if
you
he
feel that
beats me,
confident,
if he
we have a
beats
show
me-
next week, man. And
I'll
we'll
own
see.
it. Yeah,
We'll
absolutely.
see.
Listen, if he beats me, then props to Anthony because there's no such thing as a guarantee, right? There's no such thing in fantasy as a guarantee. But man, if there was a thing that was pretty close to a lock, this is one of those weeks.
This is
guys.
it.
This is definitely one of those weeks. If there's ever a
right.
close thing to a lock. But
Okay.
with that being said, yes, I ultimately will lose. So that's my pick. I'm going with the Powers, right? Let's go ahead though, really quick, guys. We got about 5 minutes because I have to go ahead and address this whole Anthony calling me out about Pops thing and not worrying about. But really quick, guys, let's talk about this playoff picture. Right now, okay, if we're looking at the standings, the playoffs would go as follows. The New York Powers would be the first seat. Tampa's Empire would be the second seat, right? And then you have a four-way tie for the last two wildcard spots, which means it goes automatically down to points, which means Dr. Evil would get in, and which means Pops would be in. If it all ended today, that's how it would go down. Now, I'm going to give you guys the floor. Do you want to change who's in? Do you agree with those picks? What do you foresee happening? And let's pick a Super Bowl favorite.
I mean, I think the easiest one that we can talk about Super Bowl favorite has to be the Powers because of the way that they're just scoring points.
Okay.
810. The second closest is in the 600s. So, I mean, let's be real. That's scoring an ungodly amount of points. So you would be foolish not to pick the Powers as a Super Bowl favorite. As far as the division, it's tough because you look at the West, and even though my friend on the other side likes to call that league or that division trash,
It is.
the reality is you have we've played multiple games against the East. And Dr. Evil is a good team. All right, maybe the rest of those three teams you can argue and say it's bad, but I mean they're doing enough to be. I mean, there's nobody at 1-5, in our division, right? They're either 2 or 4 and above. Okay, so
Now wait a minute. I'm sorry, Steve. I was cool with you. We was cool, right? I didn't call your division out, but that team that's 1-5 has scored more points than 3 teams in your division.
okay, that's fair.
So
that's fair.
let's call a spade on this, bro, man. Let's take it easy now.
I'm just saying.
Our division scores points.
Yes, your division is more stacked. There are more deeper teams. And so really the wild card, it's so tough. I mean, like I would love to give a pick right now. Based on today, I probably wouldn't change it based on points, but I'm not even confident in those two picks either because there's so much left and they're beating up on each other, which is what's making it great, by the way. But I honestly, fellas, I can't give you an answer. Like I
Okay.
honestly, I have a very good feeling that it's New York Powers, Tampa's Empire is going to be two. Tampa's Empire is probably going to have to play Pops, which is going to be not great because you know our history in the playoffs versus
Not
Pops.
necessarily, Steve. Not
So
necessarily, because if Dennis is there with Pops as a wild card, I'm not playing the St. Louis defense, the St. Louis team in the first round. I'd rather play them in the second round, where I'm hoping they sit players.
okay, so there you go. But
Yep.
either way, I mean, both scenarios. I mean, but it's the playoffs. You're playing the best teams.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna defer to you guys.
Okay. Anthony.
No, I think you're right. I think the way you have it set up, I think Dr. Evil, I think they're in. I think Tampa's in. I believe that the Powers are in, and I believe that Jet Sucks are going. I think that's the way that it goes. I think pulling off that deal gives him just enough firepower just in case anything happens. And the best thing that happened to him right now isn't necessarily that he won last week, is that now he can afford a loss because even if you don't have Aaron Rodgers this week, you still have him the rest of the way. And in that division, he's not sitting anytime soon. You have both of the New Orleans backs. You have Julio who will eventually score. Like I said, he's putting up yardage, but eventually I think he gets into the end zone a little bit more consistently,
Oh,
especially I'm not saying 8 to 10 touchdowns. I'm not saying that. So I'm not saying that. So everybody relax. I'm saying that you have him out there, and even if he doesn't perform, you still have Rodgers, you still have Graham, you still have both of the New Orleans backs, and you have Ezekiel Elliott. You have guys that are going to at least at minimum. I would say between the New Orleans backs, they get you 25 at worst. At worst, I think that Rodgers is going to be 20 to 25. And I think Zeke is going to be somewhere again between that 12 to 15 range. That's a lot to give up. And like I said, you're rolling out there with Graham, and like I said, they did some good things last night. So I'm not expecting that to change. And again, um with Dennis's team, junior, not senior, having those Rams guys out there and they're performing well. Like I said, I don't see that changing. I don't see anything altering there. That team is there and that team is loaded. I mean, the Rams haven't had their bye yet, right?
nope.
No,
Okay, so
week
they'll
11,
get
I
that.
believe.
Yeah. So by that time, he might have piled up enough wins and might be able to take that L that 1 week. But then they'll still be back in action. Like I said, the rest of that division is just not good, and they're right there. They're one of the better teams. Period. If anything ever happens, I'm certain that Dennis will be able to make a move because he has the firepower to do so.
Okay.
But in that division, he doesn't have much to worry about. It's just you. And if even if you make it, Steve, he still has a chance to win the wild card because, again, I don't see anything else coming out from the rest of that division. So
Yep.
I think Jesus might be spot on with this.
Yeah. So I think we're 3 games up with 7 left to go. That's a pretty good indication of that. Unless we have an ultimate collapse, we should be in, right. The Power should be in.
Yeah.
Steve, I do think that you're on good pace right now to make it. I'm not gonna give you the division just yet. I do think that you should be the favorite, right? You definitely 100% should be the favorite. But it's gonna obviously you need to just continue to win because I think Dennis is gonna keep winning his games too. I think Dennis is
Yeah.
gonna stay on your tail all the way through. Um, I want to correct something though. I don't think that if Steve faces Dennis in the first round, it's a guaranteed walkover. I think that's going to be a hell of a matchup. Let's not forget what it came down to, fellas, when they just played each other a couple weeks ago. Let's not forget how crazy that game was. I think you're in for that again if they were to play each other. And then the last wild card team, I'm gonna do my very best. And yes, Pops, hopefully you're listening to this. I'm saying it right now. I'm gonna do my very best to make sure you don't get in. I'm going to try to make sure I win my game when I play you because I don't want to play you in the first round. Now, to be very clear, ain't nobody scared of nobody. So that whole talk that Anthony's saying, it's not about fear because I'm very confident I can beat every single team in this league. Every single team. But if I don't have to take the risk of a certain talent of a team, I prefer to not take the risk. Because when you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So yes, if I don't have to deal with that, I actually would prefer not to. But yes, those are my teams, and then I do think ultimately, if those were the 4 teams that get in, I would pick Pops currently the way things stand. Steve, you would then play Dennis. I think I beat Pops in a 2-week series because I'm gonna have Mahomes for both those weeks, and then Steve, I do think, man, that's tough.
It's so close.
Yeah,
So close.
I
We
guess.
scored the same amount of points.
Yeah,
it depends on the matchup.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to matchup, which I haven't looked at, but you guys are literally 3 points away from each other in points for. You're at 673, he's at 670. So I guess I'll go with you, Steve, but slightly. But I'll be honest, I'll be rooting for Dennis just because I know he has all those Rams, and I want to be able to have them sit week 17. So that's just me being honest with you. But that would be, but no, honestly, I would take the Empire, and then it'll be a fun matchup. But that's what we got, guys. That's our show. We had a lot of disagreements. I loved it this week. Next week we have our trade deadline special because I believe the trade deadline is also next week. So
yes,
y'all trades, get them done.
You 2 and 4 teams, please, for the love of God, trade.
I know Gabe is trying to make trades. Gabe and Anthony should be on the phone because Anthony needs to do something. Anthony needs to do something and do something quick. He needs a flex. So Gabe, Anthony, get on the phone with each other. Dom, you won your game, but you still need to make some moves yourself too, buddy. So yeah, that's our show. Y'all stay safe. Be safe. We are out. Peace.
Adios.